Hi there, Darrell from Chill. I wanted to just take a few minutes to share a little bit from my head and heart and connect with the Chill community. Whether you're new to us or you've been hanging with us for the past 3 years that we've been in existence, there is a lot going on in the world, and wanted to offer, I guess, some inspiration and maybe even a way of being with everything as it relates to this practice known as mindful meditation. I'll begin with a quote from the powerful and poignant Maya Angelou. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. There are so many events that have been happening that we are not really in control of. And it feels on some level that that is what our country, what our life has been reduced to. It's all that's on the news. It's all that people are talking about, and rightfully so. It needs our attention. And there is this imbalance, I believe, that's taking place where we are not remembering who we are. We're not remembering some greater, wider truths about ourselves and about life that are not contingent upon what is happening in the news, that is greater than certain conditions in our world. Not to minimize those conditions at all. This is a conversation for me about how do we stay somewhat sane? How do we keep ourselves grounded? How do we find something to hold on to in the midst of all that is changing and challenging right now? And so I find the word remember, remembrance. What is it that I've forgotten and what can I remember? What I remember when I return to my meditation practice is that I'm a loving being. That there may be acts and decisions and things taking place out in the world that aren't loving, but I am loving. I remember that there is this fundamental principle of mindfulness, of paying attention to the present moment that is powerful. Not only paying attention to what is happening out in the world, but paying attention to what's happening in my inner world so that the two of them can have a powerful dialogue. As I engage with conversations about race, as I engage with conversations about justice and injustice and inequality and historical racism, to come from a place of remembering that I'm a loving being affords a really great conversation. When I forget that, the tone and the experience of the conversation is a little bit less than. Now, our emotions are powerful, and I don't want to come across that there's experiences and emotions that you should or shouldn't have. But what if we could be in powerful relationship with whatever's there? Some days are easy, some days are hard, and that's just the case, period. Right now, this heightened stress is making everything a little bit harder, I think, for all of us. Maya Angelou says we don't need to be reduced to the circumstances that are around us. We need to remember something about ourselves. Remind yourself that you're a loving being. Remind yourself that you have loving people in your life. And I'd love to remind you that actually everyone, even the people that you may think you don't like, ultimately are seeking to love and be loved. That's one of the ways that I show up. That's one of the ways my parents invited me to show up. And there's lots of filters that we experience in our world that lead to bias, that lead to judgment, that lead to, unfortunately, racism, sexism, other otherings. But what I do trust is that everyone seeks to love and be loved. And when I remember that, it softens my sharp edges a little bit. I still may be angry, I still may want to march, I still may want to voice a concern, but I approach it in a way of wanting to connect and hopefully people wanting to connect with me. And if anything right now, mindfulness is a tool to promote better relationships and better relating. Let us practice mindfulness, not because everything is happening sideways right now, but especially because everything is happening sideways right now, to employ mindfulness as a tool to allow us to reconnect better, to allow us to have dialogues that are influential, that actually promote the change that we want to see in the world. And so let's begin right now. Let's just take a few moments to be mindful and present. There's no way to do this right or wrong, good or bad. It's just being willing. Are you willing to pause and feel the breath move in and out of your body and connect to you, connect to who you are? Let's try that. Take a deep breath in and bring one hand to your heart and another one to your belly and breathe in. Feel these hands move forward and back as you inhale. And take an exhale. Good. Another deep breath in and let the eyes relax. And out. Relaxing the breath, and try saying to yourself a few times, I remember who I am. I remember who I am. I remember who I am. And just take a few breaths and declare who you are. I am light, I am love, I am understanding, I am compassionate, I am angry, I am fed up, I am frustrated, I am joyful. We are all of those things. Can you simply be with remembering who you are? Another deep breath in. And as you exhale, let your eyes gently float open. Thank you so much for taking a moment to hear my heart. I hope that it was supportive to you, and that you continue this mindful journey with us at Chill, taking a few moments every day to pause and reconnect to who you are as we reintegrate and learn how to be with one another in a better way. Thank you for taking the time to chill. Until we connect again, be well.